Hello and welcome back to Vox Terra, fellow Vox Terrans. The purpose of our show is to get the public focused on the long-term survival of the species and make that their political priority. Today's show, we start off with the shorter or nearer-term survival of individuals, parents, children, teachers, other caregivers, and educators. Regarding the back-to-school time and how that should be handled. First of all, did you watch my earlier show I made discussing the Trump administration, the EPA Trump administration, the Trump's EPA, and their refusal under the heads he's appointed there to ban a pesticide that is linked to childhood cancer? Did you watch that one? Second question, are you aware of a band from the 80s, a music band, a punk rock music band called the Dead Kennedys? They have a song that you might think would be a good title for this show, or a good title to describe the administration and their attitude towards reopening and environmental toxins and greenhouse gases in general. Let me know if you know what song I'm thinking of, or what song you're thinking of. I like music. Now, back to our immediate topic, and before I go there, remember to subscribe to my channel, remember to like, because all that will help get this message out. Back to our immediate topic. I'm going to start off with a simple common sense approach to this issue. Here's how I think this will play out. Places will reopen school. Well, it's a virus. You can't see a virus. So it's kind of like how we can't see environmental toxins that we're pumping our earth full of through the excessive use of petrochemicals, plastics, or we can't see all the greenhouse gases we are pumping our atmosphere full of that is heating our planet. It's a virus. It isn't like a large, barking, furious dog that will give an immediate fear response. It's a virus. That if you watch some of my other videos, I've shown how climate change, deforestation, and factory farming are ushering in an era of new diseases. So here's from a common sense approach how this will play out for the places that reopen, I believe. At first, everything will seem fine because you can't see the virus. Then we'll get into cold and flu season. Cold and flu season. Well, this virus, COVID-19, is new, so scientists really don't know yet how the cold and flu is going to interact with COVID-19. So now we'll have cold flu and COVID-19 syndrome season. Cold flu and COVID-19 season, all flying around, mixed up together. So one, we don't know how they will interact. That brings us back to my earlier show about factory farming as a breeding place for new diseases, because different diseases are coming into contact with these animals all crowded in together in these horrific factory farm conditions. So our schools will be kind of like that factory farm. We don't know what will emerge from it. Now, all the parents, many of them, will be living in fear. They'll be living in fear when Billy or Timmy or Tammy, good kid names, right, come home with a sniffles or a headache, not feeling so well. Now there will be the fear. Now, in addition to the fear, addition to the not knowing how these these viruses will interplay, stopping the transmission of a disease requires diligent effort. Now, if you're a parent or a caregiver or a teacher, and I don't mean to discriminate against children, even grown-ups have this problem. It's hard for those kids to keep their fingers out of their mouth. It's hard for them to keep their fingers out of their noses and out of their eyes. And you can remind kids over and over again, and those fingers keep going back to those places. A lot of grown-ups have the same problem. Now, I've seen pictures from South Korea, and I don't recall if it was in Time magazine. I'm sorry. I like to give you references. South Korea, maybe it was a high school class where the students had on face masks and they were separated by plastic partitions. Will that be happening here in the US of A? I don't think so. But if it did, even if it did, which I don't think it's going to, well, the little kid's going to take off the mask because they need a drink of water or something, and then put it back on. And now, meanwhile, they've been touching other things. Is there COVID-19 on the mask now? It requires a lot of diligence not to spread diseases around. So from a practical point of view, what I think is going to happen if places that reopen school is they're going to close down again anyway. Another issue the schools are not prepared for because society hasn't addressed it. Society, the media has chosen to focus all the attention on the dispute with the US and China, stirring up prejudice against Asian people who look Asian. So the schools are not even, I don't know that it's even on their radar, thinking about how kids who look Asian are going to be getting treated in school. Because I can tell you what I know firsthand from viewers who have kids that look Asian, is even before Trump and his Kung Flu, they get picked on. They get treated as you're not a real American by people of different races. And when that issue is brought up to teachers, according to my viewer, it's not taken seriously. The teacher's like, well, they don't understand. So I don't think the schools are prepared for that harassment that's going to be occurring either. The arguments we hear to reopen are that, well, kids are not as affected as easily. They don't die from this as readily as adults do. Well, I was listening to NPR on July 10th, for that matter, and there's a rare inflammatory syndrome that is now being discovered that does affect and does kill some children. No one is sure of any pre-existing condition with it. The more we know, the more we know we don't know. And that's really what separates someone wise from someone who's flippant and arrogant. The more we know we don't know. Flippant and arrogant people have a little bit of information and then barrel out with a lot of confidence. Very knowledgeable people tend to be a bit more timid and shy, and therefore the media doesn't give them the attention they deserve. So who wants to be that child that's going to get that rare inflammatory syndrome? Now, also, even if this disease is less deadly for children than it is for adults, kids do need their parents. So there's going to be a real fear factor when the kid comes home from school. Is that child asymptomatic, and can they spread it to their parent? A friend of mine, who I now only know from social media, who I don't believe is a lot older than I am, was on a respirator. He may have long-term health effects from that. And I don't know that he had any pre-existing conditions, and he was also happened to be a teacher, and he's also a parent. Luckily, he survived and didn't pass away, but those kids sure could use their dad. So imagine more kids going into foster care because we're just barreling through with this during a pandemic. Now, the main argument is then, well, for the economy. For the economy. Well, in the environmental climate movement, there's a saying called system change, not climate change. Meaning, change the system, don't destroy the planet to just barrel forward with a system based on endless consumerism and consumption that seems to have no rhyme or reason to it. In fact, this system is helping spread the disease because we're afraid to shut it down, even temporarily. When we did shut it down partway, we get cleaner air quality, which that says there's a problem with the system. That says we're basically paying people to go out and keep themselves busy, pollute our environment, and for that they get paid. There is a problem with the system. Change the system. Look for politicians who offer solutions to the system. Not simply business as usual. I can't wait to just get that engine started again and tear through the planet. System change, not climate change. System change, not human sacrifice. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please comment, please share, please like, please subscribe, please click that notification bell so you know when I'm putting up a new video. And please support a Patreon to help make making these videos a sustainable effort. And until next time, peace be with you.